But first, we want to bring you an update from the White House. Now, after the COVID-19 vaccines came out to much fanfare, Tony Fauci told us, and we're quoting, when people are vaccinated, they can feel safe that they're not going to get infected. Why are we rereading this to you? Because history is important. This just happened last year, and everyone's forgotten it. We refuse to forget it because the entire business of America stopped and people's lives were destroyed on the basis of these claims. Here's another. CDC Director Rochelle Walensky added that vaccinated people, quote, do not carry the virus and they don't get sick. That's the head of the CDC. And then Joe Biden told us repeatedly, this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. That was the talking point of the month. All of a sudden, though, the pandemic is starting to look kind of different. The pandemic is starting to look like a pandemic of Joe Biden. He seems to have the most COVID out of 350 million people in this country. Biden is double vaccinated, double boosted, and yet he just tested positive for COVID again for the 6th straight day. Biden first tested positive on July 21st. We're keeping track. Then he tested negative. Then he had what they're calling a rebound. So what is this about? We'd love to know, but no one can talk to the White House doctor about any of this. Why? We don't know. Probably other reasons. But we are able to hear from Joe Biden, who's in isolation. How's he doing? Well, today during a roundtable discussion with business leaders, Joe Biden announced that he is not actually the president, which you already knew. Instead, Biden said he's the vice president.
I've spoken to the chairwoman about the possibility of my being able to buy one of those Corvettes that are electric vehicles that, when they come out. I'm not going to be able to do it because I can't drive a vehicle while I'm vice president. One of the things that I did, I must admit in total disclosure, I've spoken to the chairwoman about the possibility of my being able to buy one of those Corvettes that are electric vehicles that, when they come out. I'm not going to be able to do it because I can't drive a vehicle while I'm president, any more than I could when I was vice president.
Can't drive a vehicle while he's vice president, which he currently is. Maybe he can't drive a vehicle because the state of Delaware has revoked his license in the interest of public safety. But whatever, turns out the guy who got the most votes for president ever, 847 million, or was it billion votes, more votes than anyone ever, more votes than there are people on planet Earth, doesn't realize that he's still the president. But Joe Biden's comments say are great news for at least one person who lives in the Delaware area, and that, of course, would be Corn Pop, the bad dude of Wilmington. As of today, Corn Pop knows Joe Biden's not driving any throwdowns in his Corvette with the top down, 6-foot chain in hand. He can't. He's the vice president.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys. And I did. And back in those days, to show how things have changed, one of the things you had to use, if you used pomade in your hair, you had to wear a bathing cap. And so he was up on the board, wouldn't listen to me. I said, hey, Esther, you, off the board, or I'll come up and drag you off. Well, he came off, and he said, I'll meet you outside. My car, these were all public housing behind it. My car, there was a gate out here. I parked my car outside the gate. And he said, I'll be waiting for you. He was waiting for 3 guys in straight razors. Not a joke. There was a guy named Bill Wright, Mouse, the only white guy, and he did all the pools. He was the mechanic. And I said, what am I going to do? He said, come down here in the basement where mechanics, where all the pool filter is. You know the chain, there used to be a chain that went across the deep end. And he cut off a 6-foot length of chain. He folded up, he said, you walk out with that chain. And you walk to the car and say, you may cut me, man, but I'm going to wrap this chain around your head. I said, you kidding me? He said, no, if you don't come back. And he was right. So I walked out with the chain. And I walked up to my car. And they had, in those days, you used to remember the straight razor. You'd bang them on the curb, get them rusty, put them in a rain barrel, get them rusty. And I looked at him, but I was smart then. I said, first of all, I said, when I tell you get off the board, you get off the board, and I'll kick you out again, but I shouldn't have called you Esther Williams. I apologize for that. I apologize, but I didn't know that apology was going to work. He said, you apologize to me? I said, I apologize for that, not for throwing you out, but I apologize for what I said. He said, okay, close the straight razor, and my heart began to beat again.